Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were they were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of X-Rad Live, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xander Network, live from an undisclosed location. I'm Xander Gibb, and on today's show I get on my soapbox, just for a change, and give you the chance to get on yours too. In our phone-in, 845-363-4747, that's 845-363-47047. Traci Belmonte from Your Voice America joins us, and Julio Rivera from Reactionary Times drops by to help break down this week's hottest topics. I will, of course, be joining Joe Messina, fresh from CPAC, on The Real Side at 6 Pacific, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. My brain died then. You can have your say in the feed below or to the side, wherever it might be for you, because I know it's different for everybody. And as usual, I will be sharing our comments as we go along. As I said, you can call in when we get to that section. Or if you are in the UK, you can contact us via Facebook Live Messenger. If you're, as I said, if you're in the United Kingdom, you can follow me on social media everywhere but Twitter. But because my honesty scares them. Oh, yes, sir. Let's come to the live feed and scroll back up and say hello to everybody. Hello to Tommy. Hi to chat. Welcome, brother. Hello to Dave. Hello to CV. Welcome. Hello to Robert. Hello to Michael. Hello to Jacob. Hello to Robert. Hello to Scott and everybody else that's watching but not in the live feed. Come and join us and let us know your thoughts. We won't hurt you. We will welcome you. Even if you're a liberal. Did I really just say that? Well, it's been a very interesting week this week. And I don't know if any of you are keeping up with what's going on with Brexit here in the UK. But today, Theresa May actually threatened that if Brexit didn't go her way, she was going to cancel it. She dug in her, $10 heels and chucked a hissy fit and really just kind of lost it at a press conference today. And I think it's really concerning, but it's indicative of what she's been looking for from the beginning. She's obviously more concerned about her husband's business interest than she is about making sure that the United Kingdom gets what it really needs. Now, I don't know if you saw my meme today that I shared. I didn't make it. I can't take the credit for it. Referring to Ocasio-Cortez as the Hamburglar, which I thought was really hilarious. We're going to have a competition. We should have a competition every week and see who can come up with the best Cortez meme. Because I think, there we go. Who can come up with the best Cortez meme? Because I think it's good sport. I really do. Chet says, screw May. She's an enemy of the people. She absolutely is. But no, I don't want to screw her. No way. That's really put me off my agenda. A controversial documentary has gone out. I don't know if you had it in America too. For our documentary over 2 nights about Michael Jackson. I don't know if you've watched that as yet, but I'm kind of seeing lots of mixed messages and And all these people saying, oh, well, you know, he was a fabulous pop star. Well, that doesn't excuse what he did or what he's accused of. And other people are saying, you know, they should let him, let all these things die with him. But the one comment I really have on this, and, you know, we can talk about this in the phone, and I'm going to give out the number in a minute. Should you be putting yourself in a position ever where people can point the finger at you? I mean, having other people's kids for sleepovers and having them sleep in your bed without the parents being there, it's rather worrying, to say the least. I think it's imperative. It's an amazing, an imperative lesson to learn that we should not be putting ourselves in a position where people can point the finger. Because I just think you got to protect yourself. You got to stay above reproach. Michael Jackson didn't do that. And this ideology that these people are trying to get money out of the estate, you know, I thought they sold Neverland for like 50 cents. So how is there even any money in the pot anymore? So what do you think about that? What do you think about Theresa May? What do you think about the fact that Mueller is still, you know, mooching around and trying to get an indictment and has spent millions of dollars really finding out that Donald Trump was duly elected without the help of any Russian agents. And also, the other thing I kind of want to... Hello, you're live on X-Rad Live. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Well, that was interesting. We just got a call. So we're going to take your calls now. Whoever that was, I hope you get medication. 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747. Make sure you give us a ring now. If you're calling from the UK, you can do that via Facebook Messenger. 845-363-4747. It's at the top of the... Hello, you're live on X-Rad Live. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Xander. It's Chet in Long Island.
Hi, Chet from Long Island. How is the world with you? Chet from Freedom on Deck. Was that you just calling just now and I was telling you to get medication?
No, it wasn't.
Good.
It was not. I mean, not that I don't need medication.
Oh, dude, we all need medication and copious amounts of it just to deal with the BS that's going on right now in the world, because it's gone mad, hasn't it?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about Michael Jackson. Just to get away from politics, it's good to talk about something different.
Absolutely.
You know, as a kid, I was a big fan of Michael Jackson. When he was at his height with Thriller, I was 6, 7 years old, and I remember having the record and having the glove and having the red jacket and having the doll. I had everything. Everything was Michael Jackson.
Right.
And as time progressed, you started noticing that Michael wasn't normal.
No.
Right? I mean, you could see back then, even to the point where he was making his estate look like Disney World to attract children. He
Right.
had monkeys as pets. But the strangest thing behind this whole, background with this HBO documentary is the people that were involved with him back then, and I'm talking about the young men like Macaulay Culkin and Corey Feldman, that still claim that he never had any type of interaction with them, which I find, if they're lying, it's abhorrent. I find it difficult to swallow that pill. They must have received a ton of pay
Right.
in order to lie like that.
Well,
I don't think there's any chance, in effect, that he hung out with Macaulay Culkin when he was 9 years old and slept at that house and nothing occurred.
No, I totally agree with you. But did you see? I thought it was very interesting that the Macaulay Culkin was live tweeting during the Oscars and saying about that it was a few the room was full of pedophiles and all of this.
I saw that.
So I'm kind of guessing that something has gone on.
He's probably right.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Well, look at the two Corys, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. Corey Haim, God rest his soul. He was a very troubled individual, and as he got older, he kind of came out and said, that as a child in Hollywood, that he was assaulted by by several of the producers, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm not a parent, but, even if I take my nieces and nephews to somewhere, you ain't getting past me to get to those kids. Now, your dad, you wouldn't go over to someone's house, and even if your kid said, "Oh, Daddy, I want to stay in Michael's room," you'd be like, "Hell no, you're staying with us," wouldn't you? I mean, isn't that just logical?
The parents are the bigger villains than Michael, because they were getting paid. We all know that.
Right.
I mean, the children are now coming forward and saying their parents made big bucks. They knew what he was up to, because when the first kid made the claims, he was interviewed, I can't think of the guy's name right now, years later, and Jackson's on TV saying that he still has kids sleeping in his bed.
Yeah.
And then had the gall to bring the kid on the camera.
Oh, yeah, it was that British guy, wasn't it, from Channel 4?
Yes, from the BBC.
Yeah. I just think, the thing is that, and I keep coming back to this because, everyone's defending him. And what about, it kind of brings to mind for me this kind of plethora of kind of pedophilia within the Catholic Church. And the Pope has said recently, we should forgive pedophiles. What are you trying to tell us, Popey? Because the thing is, at the end of the day, I'm all for forgiveness, but what about all those children that have been sexually abused? How can we say we forgive when there's been there's no forgiveness without repentance? And all they were doing in the Catholic Church was moving them from one place to another. And the concern for me is that if you're a priest or if you're a pop star, you can do what the hell you like to our children. And this is not the kind of message we want to be sending, because we're going to have the same kind of epidemic proportions, because there's this level of trickle down. And if you see the Pope saying things, if you see people in the media saying things, there are some people that are gullible enough to believe it. And so I think that it's a dangerous precedent that we set when we allow these things to be put across.
Well, that's the worry here, is these people are elevated to a status. They're almost put on a pedestal, just like a priest or Michael Jackson or
Right.
the Pope or you name it. And the reason they're allowed to get away with this behavior is because of who they are. People knew Michael Jackson was having children at his ranch in the early 1980s.
Right. They were procuring them for him.
New.
They were procuring them for him, sick kids and stuff like that. The same with that movie producer, Oprah Winfrey's best friend. That they were procuring women for him. And it's a concern. It's something we should all be speaking out about. And now that there's this controversy again, and all these people saying, "Oh, I don't believe it. Those two boys lied, and those two guys lied, and they're just trying to get some money." There's no money left to get,
And to do it to a child with cancer, that takes a special kind of sicko.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, not to say that it's not sick enough as it is, but to prey on those children and their families because they need the help, that's
Right.
what he did.
So let me ask you this, Chet. There's been a lot on British TV today of people saying we shouldn't be playing his music, and we shouldn't be listening to his music because of what he's done. Now, do you think that that's fair comment?
You're never going to get rid of Michael Jackson's legacy. It's not going to happen. Michael Jackson is the biggest pop star in the world, and he always will be. You're never going to get rid of that. But we need to address who he was.
Right.
He was a musical genius, but he was a troubled soul.
Absolutely.
It's just like talking about Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was a brilliant lawyer, but he was an evil, evil man
Right.
that murdered countless women. So that doesn't go away because he was a genius.
No, it doesn't cancel it out, does it?
It's up to people how they deal with it, I suppose.
Right. I mean, it doesn't cancel it out, does it? I think that, the concern is that far too often, it's kind of the same with, in the UK we have royalty, and in the US we have, celebrities. And when they commit a crime, everybody wants to forgive them. But when someone of our ilk, one of our peers, does the same thing, people are like, "Oh, throw them in jail. Give them the maximum time, teach them." Are you there, Chet?
Yes, I'm here, and one last point I wanted to make before you let me go is it's gotten so crazy in the Western world that a man like Tommy Robinson, who can expose pedophilia and sex
Yes.
rings, is the one that gets locked up.
Exactly.
That's sick.
That's a kind of a sad statement about our society now. And you know what I blame? And you know, people are going to poo-poo this, but I blame the liberalization of the planet, because what we're allowing them to do is they soft pedal all of this filth and nastiness, and in the process, what they actually do is they make it so that that decent people cannot be safe, and that's my final word on it.
No, you're absolutely right, and it's a shame that the Democrats can't even call out anti-Semitism when it's right in their face. It's the ideology of the left is way gone, and we need to squash it.
Absolutely. I've got to let you go. We are going to be actually talking about that later on in the show, about the rise of anti-Semitism, both over here in the UK and in America. But listen, Chet, very quickly, tell people who's going to be on your show this weekend and where they can hear it.
Well, the biggest guest we're having on is Victor Davis Hanson, and he wrote the new book, A Case for Trump. He's been on with Tucker Carlson. He's been on with Laura Ingraham. And he's been on with Sean Hannity. But that's just in the last month. The guy's a Fox News contributor. And we're going to have a few other guests. And all the discussions are going to be about the left, anti-Semitism, and everything we talked about. Go to freedomondeck.com. You can check out the listings there, and you can find us.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Chet. Have a great weekend, brother.
You too, Xander.
Thanks a lot. That was Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you check out the show 3 to 5 on Sunday. I'm going to start to bring on my next guest because she's going to call in any second. Traci Belmonte is a political... Go away. No, I don't want to rate Skype. Thank you very much. Traci Belmonte is a political analyst, conservative influencer, and former professional actress and model. With 3 degrees in health, physical education, biology, and history, and a degree in progress, Traci is much more than just a pretty face. She's well-respected, award-winning education expert and is well-known in D.C. for her work on GOP campaigns. She's an accomplished writer and one of the most popular hosts on Your Voice America, where her shows average between 90,000 and 250,000 views. She's the creator of The Better View and Patriots Nation and is part of the Patriots TV network. In her free time, Traci is passionate about volunteering. I feel like I'm on the Miss America. Here she is, Miss America. She's passionate about first responder and veterans charities, fitness, beauty innovations, and spending time with her family and her fur baby. And she is going to call us any second now. Wouldn't that be good if like, you know, when you say that any second now and then it happens that second? How often does that actually happen? Welcome to Nick. Welcome to Amy. Hi to Andy. Don't worry about being late, Amy. You don't need a tardy slip on this show. Oh, no, sorry. What was the other thing I wanted to tell you while we were waiting? Oh, yeah, I saw a very interesting meme this week. I do a lot with memes. And it said, if Twitter bans you because they don't like your commentary, that's like the phone company cutting off your line because they disagree with what you're talking about. And it's so true. I long for the day that they're going to actually bring social media into line and get it back to how it was, because there was a point you could kind of say what you pleased. But I'm convinced that people like George Soros threw money at it so that they could control it. And kind of control it from within. You know, there are 3 people in Mark Zuckerberg's bed. There's Mark Zuckerberg, there's his wife, and George Soros. And that is not a pretty picture, ladies and gentlemen. It really is not. Hello to Paul. Welcome to the show. We are just waiting for our guest, Traci, to join in, to call us even. Next week we're going to have the new studio ready, so you'll be able to see the new studio in full force. I will be able to sing live to you through our new system, which is gonna be really good. I'm seeing some really weird things in the chat room right now, which I'm not gonna share. Nick said it's similar, but we don't pay for Facebook accounts. I kind of wish we did, so then we have them on a technicality. Well, there is an argument. Traci Belmonte. Is that you, Traci? Hello?
Donnie.
Hello?
My name's Donnie.
Yes, we're not taking calls at this point. We're waiting for the guest to call in. But thank you very much for your call. Someone with an Irish accent there called Donnie. Sorry, Donnie. We're waiting for our guest to call in. We're through the call-in section. Oh, yes, sorry. Welcome to Traci. Hello to Stephen. Welcome to the show. I hope you are feeling better, my friend. I am just waiting now for Traci to call in. Let me just check in on Traci and see if she's calling occupants of interplanetary craft. Yeah, that's gonna be great when we get the new studio set up next week. So I can sing live to you over the show, which will be great. I'll warn you when that's gonna happen, so you can get your ear plugs out. I've been rehearsing today, even though I've had this bad chest thing all week. For the 1 second. I'm just passing on some information. Yes, I've been rehearsing today for this TV show that I'm going to be doing in the UK very soon, which involves singing. I'm really looking forward to that. Hello to Ron. I'll see that I hope that I can get videos of it so that you can see exactly what's going on. Can't tell you very much more about it right now. It is a little bit hush-hush. Traci is just about to call us. She's probably just powdering her nose, even though it is kind of radio. Oh, yes, sir. Chet says, whoa, Donnie, the best new kid. Are you talking about Donnie Wahlberg? I really... Hello, is this the fabulous Traci?
It sure is.
Welcome back to the show. How is the world with you?
Oh, my world is awesome. I'm a little full because it is Friday during Lent, so I just ate my weight in pizza.
Really?
But other than that, I am doing fabulous. How are you?
I am wonderful. It's a little cult here in the UK, and Theresa May is really kind of, in need of a slap, but apart from that, things are going well. I was just thinking that when you said about eating your weight in pizza, I think that for me that would be a real truckload of pizza. So let's not go there. So what did you give up for Lent, Traci? Did you give anything up for Lent?
I did. I gave up sugar.
You gave up sugar.
Of course, when you give up something, that's all you think about and all you want.
Totally.
Sugar.
Totally. Well, I can't have sugar anymore because I'm diabetic, and every 3 months they give you a blood test, and they reckon if I carry on the way that I'm going, because this is I'm not a doctor, but with type 2 diabetes, if you can get to a stage where you're kind of no longer diabetic, and apparently I'm heading in that direction. So that coupled with losing 60 pounds, I'm kind of like I just it's very exciting when you've had health problems that you get to a point where things are getting better.
Yes, that's fabulous. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's really hard work.
Absolutely.
That's really hard work. So
Absolutely.
Good on you.
Thank you. So let's jump right into to our first story. We alluded to this a little bit earlier in the show, but President Trump today blasted a House resolution condemning hate after backlash from a number of factions across the Democratic Party forced changes to a bill that originally focused on anti-Semitism. Now, interestingly, the same is happening right now in the UK with the left that are called the Labour Party. Mr. Trump said, I thought yesterday's vote by the House was disgraceful because the Democrats have become an anti-Israel party. They've become the anti-Jewish party. Mr. Trump told reporters on the South Lawn before departing to survey tornado damage in Alabama. He said, I thought that vote was a disgrace, and so does everybody else. If you get an honest answer, if you if you get an honest answer from politicians, they thought it was a disgrace. Now, the House resolution was initially pushed by the Anti-Defamation League and some Jewish members of Congress who were upset with comments made by Ilhan Omar. I'm not going to spit because we have a nice carpet here in the studio. At a progressive town hall meeting last week, who's already apologized for her remarks, too late as far as I'm concerned. The pro-Israel lobby, AIPAC, deployed the Benjamins to influence the policy. She told her audience, I wanted to talk about political influence in this country that says it's okay for people to push allegiance to a foreign country. Should Ilhan and her ilk be sanctioned for this level of discrimination? As, let's face it, if this were anti-Muslim rhetoric, she'd be demanding it and the rest of the country would be going crazy.
You know what, Xander, how could we be surprised at this? I mean, this was the party that voted for murdering babies to survive abortion. So we shouldn't be surprised that they had a difficult time voting for a resolution condemning the repeated hatred of Ilhan Omar. You know, this is the Democrat Party of 2019.
Right. They
can't even agree to remind people that they don't hate Jews. And now the rise of anti-Semitism around the world, and it's up 61% in America, has infiltrated our Congress. And this is dangerous to the sanctity of our republic, Xander. I mean, these radicals that are in the party, and I like to call Omar, Tlaib, and AOC the Hamasketeers for a little nickname. You know, they hate America.
They do.
They would gladly, they do. And they would gladly turn us into a communist nation in a heartbeat. Gladly.
Because for me, if you as a public official cannot put your hand on the Bible and swear an oath of allegiance, or have a level of respect for the flag, or have a level of respect for our sister country, Israel, then you have no right being a representative for anybody, in my opinion.
Absolutely, Xander, 100%. I mean, it's scary that this cancer has infiltrated our Congress, and it's going to metastasize if we don't get a handle on it. And Nancy Pelosi's obviously lost control of these girls and her caucus in general. Now, this isn't the first time, though, that we saw anti-Semitism in the Democrat Party. In the modern Democrat Party, it started long before Omar's comments. Remember Barack Obama. He had a 20-year relationship with Reverend Wright.
Yeah.
His sermons were all anti-Semitism. And then, remember, he took a very smiley photograph with Louis Farrakhan, and they paid off, the Democrat Party paid off the photographer to keep that photo hidden.
I remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Obama's, just so blatant against Israel when he agreed to the Iran deal, which gave that country the ability to develop nuclear weapons to destroy Israel. And it's not like Iran has been quiet about hating Israel and its desire to hate Israel. So, I mean, this anti-Semitism started a long time ago.
It totally did, and there was a real anti-Semitic agenda. And the scary thing is that this is contrived, because if it wasn't contrived, it would just be in like one place. But to consider that it's actually here in the UK, and the leader of the opposition, who is the equivalent of the Democrats in the UK, which is called the Labour Party, even attended a commemorative service for the Muslim terrorists that blew up the 1969 Olympics in Germany, and lit commemorative candles and things like this. I mean, we should demand that our elected officials are not taking part or supporting any kind of hate, whatever they think personally, because we can't tell people what to think. We demand a better standard from those who are purporting to represent us, because that's not representative of us, is it? Let's face it.
No, and this anti-Semite sits on the most powerful committee in the House, and let's not forget, she has top security clearance. Steve King asked a question that might have been seen by some as like they said it was a racist question. I don't agree with it. I think he was just kind of like meandering out loud. and maybe he shouldn't have done that in some people's minds. I don't think there was anything wrong with what he was talking about, because he's just trying to get more information. And he gets thrown off of all of his committees. But this anti-Semite, this isn't the first anti-Semitic remark she's made.
No.
She goes back years on Twitter. This is a pattern with her. And I really can't figure her out because, you know, after the Democrats failed to condemn her today, then there's this new interview that comes out where she's insulting Obama, calling him a pretty face and a murderer.
Oh.
I mean, these three new Hamasketeers, AOC, Omar, Tlaib, they are a gift to MAGA. They are a gift to
Right.
Donald Trump.
Totally.
Now the 2020 election it's clear cut. Like it's a choice. Are you pro a free America, or do you want a communist America? It's not even a socialist America. It's a communist, anti-Semitic America. That's your choice.
But surely, and you know, the thing that just popped into my mind is that this kind of stuff is actually unconstitutional because the Constitution protects us from these kind of things, you know, the freedom of religion. And the thing is, at the end of the day, surely there must be some Democrats that are Jews out there who are thinking, what the heckity is this? You know, I saw a thing, there's a thing similar to Blexit, like the Black Exit, I think it's called Jew Exit or something like that they're talking about now. But why is anybody with half a brain still supporting the Democrats when they're just kind of churning out such hate and nasty rhetoric and, you know, wanting to kill babies and you know, stop us eating hamburgers and stopping cows from farting. I mean, it's like we've gone into kind of like bizarro world, isn't it?
It's absolutely crazy. And I've asked my Jewish friends, I do have Jewish conservative friends, why would any self-respecting Jewish American vote Democrat? And it's because they're uninformed. Now, the reason they started to vote Democrat to begin with is because, remember, once upon a time, the Democrat Party wasn't this radical, crazy party.
No.
It was a party of the working people when we go back to the 1970s. My parents were Democrats back in the 1970s, and it wasn't as divisive as it is now. Then there started to be a clear split, maybe, you know, in the 80s, it started to delineate a little bit. And now the lines have never been more clear. The party of the Democrats of the JFK era is no more. I mean, it is a far left communist party that wants to tell you what to eat, what to drive, ban planes. I mean, it's like something out of Fahrenheit 451 or a George Orwell book.
Yeah, and just let's cut to Ocasio-Cortez on her push bike, you know, on her bike, you know, going to Washington. Hello, I'm going to Washington. It'll only take me 26 days, but I'm going to get there.
I'm telling you, Xander, every time she, Omar, or Tlaib opens their mouth, like Nancy needs another shot of Botox and another shot of gin, because Nancy Pelosi knows she's going to have to primary these girls, and I think she knows it. Remember, Nancy is a very good fundraiser. She generates money, buku bucks for the Democrat Party. They's girls, they're going to get primaried out. Nancy's going to get her way one way or another.
Absolutely. Now, I want to. We've in the time we got left, I want to have a quick look at this next story because it really interested me today. Because the abortion debate grows as a team from Alabama ignites a very big debate about fetal ownership. Now, Ryan Megas has decided to sue a clinic in Madison County because it aborted his girlfriend's pregnancy without his consent. A court has recognized the unborn baby as a person with rights, as is the law in Alabama, allowing for the 19-year-old would-be father to sue on its behalf. It's been 2 years since Mega's girlfriend got the procedure, but he is fighting for his day in court so that men in the future will be able to have a legal precedent to keep their baby even if the other half doesn't. I'm here for the men who actually want to have their baby. I believe every child from conception is a baby and deserves to live. I just tried to plead with her and just talk about it and see what I could do. But in the end, there was nothing I could do to change her mind. Even though there's nothing I can do for the situation I was in, there is something I can do for future situations. Ryan also said the girlfriend was reportedly 6 weeks along in her pregnancy before she took the pills for the abortion. Mega's lawyer adds that Ryan was prepared to step up to the plate and become the father, and Ryan was all about family. He took on extra jobs, etc., in order to be able to do this. And it's going to change things in the future depending on what the court rules. There could be a situation where the father has to give consent to an abortion. Also, the Alabama legislature could carve out exceptions, but it's almost too early to tell. Now, personally, I think this is a good thing. What say you, Tracy?
Oh, bravo, Alabama, for recognizing the fetus as a person.
Yes.
Bravo. Not like my state. Now, I'm not going to use any explicatives on your show, Xander, but I have a lot of choice words for Killer Cuomo and my blue state who chooses to murder babies. Look, the baby was produced by two people, a mother and a father, and it's about time the father has rights to his child. If you don't want to get pregnant, guess what? Have a little personal responsibility and close your legs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's that simple because abortion is a business and it generates billions, over $7 billion a year in baby murder. So, of course, Planned Parenthood and all these organizations put out these ads and say, oh, it's empowering to have an abortion. It's a great thing. It's a choice. It's not a choice. It's murder. And I have never met a woman that has had an abortion that has been normal since that abortion.
No. Look at Cynthia Nixon from Sex and the City last year saying, let's enshrine abortion. What the hell does that mean? You know, okay, let's enshrine killing kids. We'll start with your kids, Cynthia. Let me come and slit the throats of your kids. And let's see how you feel about that. Because what is the difference, Tracy? There's absolutely no difference between me killing her kids and her allowing, her suggesting it's okay for other people to kill their kids. You know, don't write in, I wouldn't want to kill anybody's kids. It's just an example.
Of course. You know, it's an interesting development, what's going on, and I'm so, hot, to watch this, because, remember, the SCOTUS rules, back in the 70s, that the fetus was not a person, and that a woman's views on abortion were the only ones that mattered, because she's the one that carries and delivers the baby. So, if this is setting up a challenge for Roe versus Wade, and I've never been more excited.
Absolutely.
Giving a fetus rights, giving the father rights. What a legal powder keg this is, and I want to light that match. You know?
Yeah.
I really, look. If you remember, the Supreme Court's made very bad decisions in the past. Remember, they didn't look at black people as people. They said they were property. We've overturned and righted those wrongs of history. It's about time that we right the wrong of abortion.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And it's funny you should pick up on that. You know, I remember people have said to me in the past, you don't have a right to an opinion on abortion because you're a male. And my fabulous friend Dr. Gina Loudon, quite rightly pointed out to me
I love Dr. Gina.
Me too. That they abort male fetuses every day too. So, I do have a right to kind of talk about it. We are running out of time, Tracy, and as always, I could speak to you forever. But tell people where they can find you and find out more about what you're doing.
Sure. Come on my website, politidiva.com. That's where I put all my broadcasts, and I'll link to yours on there as well, Xander.
Thank you.
And you can. Yes, you're welcome. And you can follow me on Twitter at Real Politidiva. Because remember, I love politics, and I never met a sequin I didn't like.
Oh, yes, sirree. I can't go there, unfortunately, because I'm in presenter mode. But, yeah, I love sequins, too. We'll talk a little bit more about that.
Any day now, they're going to kick me off, too.
Absolutely. So, listen, thank you so much, Tracy. You have a fabulous weekend, and I hope you're going to have some more of that pizza.
You know I am.
Absolutely.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
For sure. Thanks a lot, Tracy.
I'll talk to you later.
Take care. That was the fabulous Traci Belmonte. Make sure you go and check her out. I need to bring on now my next guest, who is Julio Rivera, the Conserva-Rican broadcaster, commentator, and editor-in-chief at reactionarytimes.com. Let's hope he's on the end of this phone line so we can keep this fiery, so we can keep this fiery debate going. Hello, Mr. Rivera. Welcome back to the show. How is the world with you?
Everything is fantastic. How's everything with you?
It is wonderful. It's a little chilly here, but you know it is the UK. I'm sitting staring at some vodka that's calling out to me to drink right after the show, and so it's all peachy, really. So you're fresh from CPAC. How was that? What was it like seeing the Donald? Did you get to meet him? Did he tell you that we were big buddies? You know, all of that.
No, actually, I didn't get a chance. It's ridiculous when the president or vice president is there because the security is so tight that if you're not there at like 6 o'clock in the morning, you're not getting into the event to see him. And if you're not there that early, then they close off everything else. So I actually wound up watching the speech from the sports bar just underneath where he was speaking.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it was like that on, that's how those days are. But overall, the event was fantastic. There was a lot of media there. A lot of excitement, a lot of people talking about a lot of different things. Obviously, there was that was right on the heels of the whole Cohen thing. So everybody was spouting off their opinions on that.
Yeah.
And many other things. It was a good opportunity to catch up with old friends and people I haven't seen for a long time and stuff. So it was great. A lot of drinking as usual.
Well, I mean, let's face it, you can't have a conference without a few beers.
Exactly.
So a lot was said this week on British television as I was preparing for the show tonight. People were saying how ridiculous it was for the Donald to be hugging the flag of the United States of America and calling it baby. Well, you know what? I applaud that, because if you love your country, you love your flag, why not give it a hug?
Exactly. I don't have a problem with that anymore. It's like this stand against patriotism. Since when does America have to apologize for anything? I mean, obviously we're not perfect, but you compare our history to the history of a lot of countries that are still around today.
Yeah.
I mean, I think ours is I can find a lot more reasons for Germany to apologize than America at this point.
Yeah, especially for electing Angela Merkel and allowing her to make the big F up that she's made with Germany. I mean, if Germany is unrecognizable right now, and so yeah. Absolutely. So what was the kind of highlight of CPAC for you?
The highlight for CPAC for me, I don't know. I mean, to tell you the truth, I had a lot more to do with things that happened outside of the event. Seeing friends and things like that. That's generally the way CPAC goes for me. I mean, I think Trump's speech was definitely the highlight of the actual event.
Right.
I mean, it was the longest speech. I think he was giving red meat to his base that he needs behind him now, as it seems that they're really trying to do a full court press against him. They're subpoenaing 81 of his associates.
Yeah.
They're going to continue to try to dig for information that may or may not be there. I mean, to tell you the truth, I can't believe that they're allowing, this Mueller investigation in the House Judiciary Committee to go ahead and, subpoena that many people. It seems crazy to me.
It seems very crazy to me, too. And I think to spend all that money, to find out that, Donald Trump was duly elected, without any interference, is kind of, to me, surely we can't talk about how much money there isn't to pay for schools and to do X, Y, and Z. If we're spending, $30 million on investigating an innocent man. I mean, to me, it just seems a little far-fetched.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, it most certainly is. I mean, I think at the end of the day, that's going to be, a real black eye on, the Justice Department that they went out there and because I really don't think that they're going to find anything. I think if they did,
no.
They would have already released it. And the other thing is now they're crossing lines of, what's ethically, acceptable from the perspective of, investigating someone. I mean, now how far back do they want to go? You know what I mean? Is there not such a thing as statute of limitations?
Of course.
Mean, it's ridiculous for them to try to, bring up all these people. I mean, I was looking at that list. Some of the names on that list just boggled my mind. Like, Jeff Sessions is one of the people that they want to bring in. Jeff Sessions is the one that's protected the deep state, to me, for, saying that he would recuse himself from any investigations into Hillary Clinton. That's what, to me, opened up the door for this preemptive campaign against Trump, you know, because if let's say the Justice Department would have did what was right, and they would have went through Hillary Clinton's emails, and they would have demanded, you know, justice for that matter, and for the Uranium One deal, and for all the arms deals to Middle Eastern countries, while, you know, she was head of the State Department, and the Clinton Foundation was receiving money from all these countries. It would have pointed to the fact that, you know, the intelligence community was shielding her at that point. And
of course.
Who was that? That was Comey. You know, and that was Mueller. You know, the people like that were the ones that were enabling her to get away with what she got away with. So, I mean, I think that it's one of those kind of get us before we get you sort of deals.
It
that's
totally,
the reason why they're going after Trump so hard.
It totally was, and it totally was a smokescreen, because why are we investigating a sitting president before we deal with the misdemeanors of the previous administration? I mean, let's face it, there's a plethora of things to call the previous administration to task for. And there Hillary is, kind of, swanning about walking her dogs. You know, I haven't forgiven her for Benghazi. I haven't forgiven them for the money they gave to Iran. You know, the list is endless. But I think this was so. The reason they did the investigation was so that Donald Trump would not appoint a special prosecutor to investigate Hillary Clinton like he said he would. Because all this is about discrediting him, clearly.
Yes, exactly, yes. And they're trying to discredit a president who's actually doing a much better job than any of, like, the previous 2 or 3 presidents. So,
I've heard people say
I find it ridiculous.
Better than Reagan, even, which you know,
Yes. I actually, you know, when you look at some of the results, you wonder what was every president before Trump even doing?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I always
so hard for them to figure out that, you know, if we cut taxes and if we deregulate a little bit, that the economy would take off. What was so difficult about that?
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, I always thought that what they would do is they would base their opinion finally on what kind of job he was doing. Because let's face it, if he'd not done a very good job, we would not be sitting here defending him or even talking about him now. But he's done an absolutely impeccable job. So isn't it time to look at his performance? I'm not interested in what he did 10 years ago. I'm not interested in what his father said. I'm not interested in what he did before he was a president, because it's absolutely irrelevant. Because our only opinion about Donald Trump should be about how well he is running the country. Because everything else is superfluous to, you know, it's a requirement. It's just not relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we didn't hire him for anything other than to do the job that he's doing now, and he's doing a great job of it. You know, listen, at the end of the day, in 2020, I think the people are going to speak. I think he's going to win re-election very easily.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's any doubt in anybody's mind that he's going to win. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have a monumental shakeup in the Democrat Party. I think that they're going to get their, you know, what's handed to them, you know, in the same fashion that they did in 1984. I think that they're going to wind up remaking the Democrat Party as a more moderate party, because they're going to realize, and listen, the rats are already jumping off the ship, because, you know, based on the actions of, you know, Congresswoman Omar and Ocasio-Cortez and all their, you know, they've only been, think about it, I mean, they've only really taken over since the beginning of the year, and we're only in the beginning of March, and they've already proven to be a disaster.
Yeah.
So I think people are going to walk away from this version of the Democrat Party, and then they're going to have to try to figure something out in 2024 where they maybe pick, you know, somebody who's a little bit more of a centrist candidate.
Yeah. And, you know, it's one thing that the Democrats do well, Julio, is make good conservatives, because, you know, I'm living testimony to that. You know, 7-8 years ago, I was a Democrat, and I was, you know, like one of the original walk away people. Boy, was the deprogramming fun. It really was, because there is a lot of brainwashing goes on with that. You know, you're kind of like fed 24/7 what you're supposed to think, and I don't want to be told what to think by anybody. And if you're someone that follows the party line to the letter, that kind of worries me too. You know, often people say to me, "Oh, you know, Donald Trump could kill someone and you'd still defend him." No, absolutely, of course I wouldn't. You know, I don't agree with everything that Donald Trump says and does, but I do with the majority, because, you know, I'm not a single issue supporter. I support him because I think that he's the best choice for America right now.
Exactly. Yeah, I've always been an 80-20 guy. to a certain extent myself. Obviously when there's a primary and we have a chance to pick the perfect guy, that doesn't always work out. But once if you find a guy that you agree with, 80% of the way, there's nothing that should stop you from, backing that candidate up passionately.
No.
Some of the things that I'm seeing from the Republicans are starting to worry me a little bit, like this backlash against his state of emergency and things like that. I mean, I think it's all very self-serving. These legislators haven't gotten it done, quite frankly. I mean, the Republicans did have the majority for 2 years. Trump never went out and vetoed a bill. I mean, that's the one thing that people keep forgetting. It's like, they say he's an authoritarian, that, he's trying to be a dictator, he's doing this, he's doing that, but the guy's never vetoed an actual bill.
No.
Barack Obama vetoed 12 bills.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was always trying to affect, the country from, stretching the limits of his executive power. So
I just love the things they call him, and I love when they call him a homophobe, and there he is trying to kind of make it better for gay people all across the world. And, that's the first sign of a homophobe, when you're trying to improve things for the gay community. Let's face it. So I want to jump topic just for the last bit of time we've got together. Kamasutra Harris, a.k.a. Kamala Harris, wants to bring back prostitution and is making waves with her campaign. She's already called for reparations to black folks, but that was not enough. Now she's planning on legalizing prostitution. She said that she would decriminalize as long as safeguards remain in place to protect sex workers against exploitation by human traffickers and pimps. Harris's assertions came with a caveat. She said, I think that we have to understand, though, that it's not as simple as that. Now, the California Senate, instead of decriminalization, state officials in New York are already to force the issue. Lawmakers there announced last week that they are working on decriminalization legislation. The answer has always been to throw more police at them, said New York State Senator Jessica Ramos, who noted the activity under the train platform in Queens. It hasn't worked, and we have to start thinking outside of the box and being bold enough to demand a change. Among those against, with the notion that legalized would make prostitution safer, is Rachel Moran, an author and former prostitute, who argues that when it becomes legal, there is no incentive for the government to provide exit strategies for those that want to get out of being socially disadvantaged. Now, don't you think this is concerning that an American state senator is talking about legalizing prostitution? I mean, where does she think we're living? Canada?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of crazy. I mean, this is just something, again, another attempt by the left to try to sort of deteriorate our moral fiber as a country. I mean, there's two different arguments. There's that argument. Then there's also the libertarian argument that says that if somebody wants to go ahead and do that, why shouldn't they have the right to if it's there? You know what I mean? So it's two different arguments. I personally, I'm pretty libertarian, but this is something I definitely stand against. I don't agree with legalizing that in that way. I think that's definitely bad. I think it's going to cause more harm than it does good. It's almost like throwing up your hands and saying that this is going to be something that we can't do anything about, so we might as well make it safer. I think that's ridiculous.
Me too.
And I don't think that that's going to score her any points with the middle of the country. I don't think it's going to score her necessarily even any points with women. I mean, I just think it's like, I think that women can do better things with their lives than to sell their bodies. So I don't think that she's setting any great examples for young women in this country by going ahead and having this stand.
Well, I don't think she's setting any great examples, period, with all the things that are coming about as to how she got into office. I mean, it sounds like she has a little experience in the field herself. I mean, I've heard of the casting couch, but God, her knees must be sore, Yeah,
I mean, if somewhere down the line she gets a knee replacement, then, we can only speculate whether or not that had something to do with, her rise to where she's gotten to in life.
Exactly. Chet just said something very interesting in the chat. I don't know if you're watching it. He said, soon they'll be advocating for legalizing pedophilia. That is going to be the next thing. It's interesting. this is another time I'm mentioning Gina Loudon, but she said to me about the same-sex marriage that right after that, the pedophiles were going to say, oh, well, we need to, the NAMBLA folks were going to jump on the bandwagon and say they've got their thing, we need our thing now. Do you think that they're going to be that stupid to say something like that, or would nothing surprise you now with the Democrats?
Nothing surprises me, and to tell you the truth, they're already moving to decriminalize that in the state of California. So it's always, it happens incrementally. It starts with decriminalization, then decriminalization starts to, where they start to, try to move it into the mainstream, which is really sickening, you know what I mean? So,
Very scary.
At this point, no, I'm not surprised by anything. I mean, we look at that abortion bill that just passed in New York. I mean, I can't think of anything more evil than that.
No, me either. I mean, let's face it, the leader of the Democratic Party is Satan. And when you stand and take a look back, and I've talked about this with many people, this is not about Democrat and Republican, it's about good and evil. And right now the Democrats are so far in the ballpark of evil, they're in frickin' Narnia. Do you know what I mean? That's how bad it's gotten. Yes, We've run out of time, Julio, but thank you so much for joining us today. Tell people where they can find you, where they can see you appearing imminently.
They can see me everywhere. They can catch me on Facebook, Reactionary Times, Newsmax, and a million other places. Follow me on Twitter at oh yeah, it's Julio.
Absolutely. All Julio's contact information is on the X-Rad Facebook page for today. Thank you so much for joining us, Julio. Give my love to your beautiful daughters and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you so much. God bless you, brother.
You too. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. That was the fabulous Julio Rivera. Make sure you check him out. If you're not following him, make sure you do. Not had your fill of the Gibbster. You can catch me right after this show on The Real Side, 6 Pacific, 8 East, 8 Central, 9 Eastern, and 2 a.m. in the UK. So grab a cup of tea and stick around. And don't forget, on Sunday, Freedom on Deck, 3 to 5 Eastern. I'll be back next Friday without fail. Thanks to everyone in the live feed. Thanks to Chip for calling in. I do love you all. Anyone that tells you anything different is clearly a Democrat. I love you all. Bye-bye.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were never bound to change when